China threatens to dump $800 billion in US bonds. Your first thought? What does this mean for my super, my mortgage, or that ETF I just chucked $200 into on Raiz? Fair dinkum, mate. It's a question every Aussie should be asking right now. Because when the world's two biggest economies start throwing punches, the shockwaves could hit your wallet harder than a parking fine in Sydney's CBD. Let's talk numbers that'll make your jaw drop. 70% of Australians reckon their super won't last through retirement. That's 7 out of 10 of us, from young baristas in Melbourne to retirees on the Gold Coast, sweating bullets about running out of cash. Now add this global trade stoush into the mix. Donald Trump slapped a whopping 104% tariff on Chinese imports, and China's hinting at a nuclear option, selling off $800 billion in US Treasuries. If that happens, it's not just Wall Street that'll feel the heat. Our ASX 200, your CommBank shares, even the price of your Avio toast could take a hit. Building wealth in times like these is like surfing a rip at Bell's Beach. Misjudge the current, and you're done for. But here's the good news. In the next 60 minutes, we're going to map out a plan to keep your finances rock solid, no matter what China or Trump throws at us. We'll unpack how global trade wars affect your investments, share practical steps to protect your wealth, and show you how to turn uncertainty into opportunity, like finding a cheap snag at Bunnings on a Saturday arvo. Stick with us, because we're about to reveal the one mistake most Aussies make when markets get wobbly. A mistake that could cost you more than a grand final ticket at the MCG. Ready to take control of your financial future? Let's dive in. All right, mates, let's paint the picture. You're an Aussie, maybe in your 20s, pouring flat whites at a bustling cafe in Melbourne's Brunswick, or perhaps in your 40s, wrestling with a mortgage in Brisbane while school fees hit you harder than a rogue wave at Bondi. Or maybe you're a retiree in Perth, eyeing your super and wondering if it'll stretch for that dream caravan trip through the Kimberley. No matter where you stand, one thing's crystal clear. The cost of living in Australia is tougher than a $2 steak. The median house price in Sydney is sitting at a staggering $1,200,000, and even in Adelaide, you're shelling out $800,000 for a decent home. Toss in inflation hovering between 3 and 4%, and the Reserve Bank of Australia hiking the cash rate to 4.35%. It feels like you're trying to scale Uluru in a pair of thongs. Let's meet Sarah, a 32-year-old primary school teacher from Brisbane. Sarah's the quintessential Aussie battler. She's got a $600,000 mortgage, a higher education contribution scheme debt that's been lurking since her uni days, and a credit card balance that sneaks up every time she pops into Woolworths for groceries. Sound like someone you know? Sarah loves her weekend barbecues, cheering for the Broncos at Suncorp Stadium, and grabbing a coffee at her local in West End. But at night, she's wide awake, stressing about whether she'll ever pay off her home, or if her superannuation, currently at $80,000, will see her through retirement. And now, with headlines screaming about a global trade war, she's wondering if her modest exchange-traded fund investments through Raiz are about to take a dive. Sarah's not alone. Across Australia, from Sydney's inner west to Perth's Cottesloe, 70% of us, yes, 7 out of 10, are worried our super won't last. Young Aussies in their 20s are drowning in credit card debt or higher education contribution scheme loans, while professionals in their 30s and 40s are juggling childcare costs that rival a second mortgage. Retirees, meanwhile, are eyeing their nest eggs, hoping they don't outlive their savings. And then there's this global mess. The United States and China, the world's two economic heavyweights, are slugging it out. The United States has slapped a jaw-dropping 104% tariff on Chinese imports, and China's hinting at a nuclear option, dumping $800 billion worth of United States treasuries. If that happens, it's not just Wall Street that'll feel the pinch. Our Australian Securities Exchange 200 could wobble, your Commonwealth Bank shares might dip, and even the price of your avocado toast at that trendy cafe in Surrey Hills could climb. Let's break it down. The Australian Securities Exchange 200, our benchmark stock index, delivers an average annual return of about 7%. But when global markets get shaky, like they are now, that return's not guaranteed. The Reserve Bank of Australia's cash rate, sitting at 4.35%, means borrowing's getting pricier. Bad news if you're eyeing a home in Melbourne, where prices are still north of $900,000. And superannuation? The average 40-year-old Aussie has about $150,000 socked away. That's not enough for a comfortable retirement, especially when experts reckon you'll need $1,500,000 to live well in a city like Sydney or Melbourne. Now let's talk about this trade war. China's sitting on $800 billion in United States treasuries, basically loans to the United States government. If they sell those off, it could spike United States interest rates, crash their bond market, and send shockwaves through global economies, including ours. Australia's tied to both the United States and China. We export iron ore and coal to China, and our financial markets track Wall Street's moves. A global meltdown could hit our dollar, push up inflation, and make that dream home in Manly feel further away than ever. It's like waiting for rain in the outback. Hope's there, but it's a long wait. But here's the kicker. It's not your fault the system feels rigged. The cost of living, the global uncertainty, the pressure to keep up, it's enough to make anyone feel like they're running on a hamster wheel. Sarah felt it too. 2 years ago, she was staring at a $20,000 credit card bill, thinking she'd never get ahead. But Sarah turned it around, and you can too. She started small, cutting back on takeaway coffees, redirecting that cash to her debt. Today, she's debt-free, investing $200 a month in an exchange-traded fund and sleeping better than she has in years. Her story's proof that even in a world where China and the United States are playing economic chicken, you can take control. This trade war might feel like a storm rolling in over the Great Barrier Reef, but storms pass. The question is, are you ready to weather it? Stick with us, because we're about to share the one strategy that could save your finances from a global shakeup, a strategy even a barista like Sarah can use to build wealth. It's simpler than you think, and it starts with what's already in your pocket. All right, mates, we've seen the storm clouds gathering. China's threatening to dump $800 billion in United States treasuries. The United States is hitting back with a 104% tariff, and our Australian securities. Exchange 200 is caught in the crossfire. But here's the good news. You don't need to be a Wall Street whiz or a Bondi billionaire to protect your finances. Building wealth in this chaos is like planting a eucalyptus tree. Start small, stay consistent, and one day you'll have a bloody big shade to relax under. Today, we're diving into 4 practical strategies that any Aussie, from a barista in Brunswick to a retiree in the Barossa, can use to safeguard their money and grow it no matter what the global markets throw at us. Let's get stuck in. Strategy 1. Smash your debt with the snowball method. First up, let's tackle the debt beast. It's like a kangaroo in your backyard, ready to knock you flat if you don't handle it. Australians owe over $2 trillion in household debt, with credit cards and mortgages being the biggest culprits. Meet Tom, a 35-year-old tradie from Perth. Tom had a $15,000 credit card bill racking up interest faster than a V8 at Bathurst. He felt trapped, but then he tried the debt snowball method, and it changed everything. Here's how it works. List all your debts: credit cards, higher education contribution scheme loans, personal loans, from smallest to largest. Pay minimums on everything, but throw every spare dollar at the smallest debt. Once it's gone, roll that payment into the next smallest debt and keep going. Tom started with a $1,000 store card, paid it off in 3 months, then tackled his credit card. In 18 months, he was debt-free, saving $2,000 a year in interest. That's cash he now invests in the Australian Securities Exchange. Your turn. Pause this video and grab a pen. Write down your debts, smallest to largest. Got a $500 afterpay balance? That's your first target. Cut back on 1 takeaway coffee a week. $20 saved, and put it toward that debt. Small wins build momentum, just like cheering the Swans to a comeback at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Strategy 2. Invest in the Australian Securities Exchange with exchange-traded funds. Next, let's talk investing. The Australian Securities Exchange 200 averages a 7% annual return, even with global wobbles like this trade war. But picking stocks like BHP or Qantas can feel like betting on the Melbourne Cup. Enter exchange-traded funds. Think of them as a meat pie with all the good stuff baked in. An exchange-traded fund like Vanguard's VAS tracks the Australian Securities Exchange 200, spreading your money across top companies for as little as $100. Take Emma, a 27-year-old nurse from Adelaide. Emma started investing $200 a month in VAS through a platform like Raiz. Over 10 years, with a 7% return, her investment grew to $30,000. That's a deposit on a unit in Glenelg. The trick? Start small and automate it. Set up a direct debit to invest $50 a fortnight. It's less than a night out at the pub. And don't panic if the market dips. It's like a rough surf at Bondi. Ride it out, and you'll come out stronger. Here's a challenge. Open an account with a micro-investing app like Raiz or CommBank Pocket today. It takes 5 minutes. Comment below. What's one expense you could redirect to investing? Maybe it's that extra streaming subscription you barely use. Strategy 3. Supercharge your superannuation. Your superannuation is your financial backbone, but most Aussies treat it like a forgotten pair of boots in the shed. The average 40-year-old has $150,000 in super. But to retire comfortably in a city like Melbourne, you'll need $1,500,000. With the trade war shaking markets, now's the time to make your super work harder. Meet Aisha, a 42-year-old marketing manager from Sydney. Aisha bumped her super contributions by 2%, from 9.5% to 11.5% through salary sacrificing. Her employer matched it, and over 15 years, that extra 2% grew her super by $120,000. Plus, it's tax deductible, more money in your pocket now. Here's how to start. Log into your super account, whether it's Australian Super, Host Plus, or another fund, and check your contribution rate. Call your employer and ask about salary sacrificing 1% more. It's like adding extra snags to the barbecue. Small effort, big reward. And if you're self-employed, talk to an accountant about concessional contributions. Pause now. When was the last time you checked your super balance? Share in the comments. It's a wake-up call for all of us. Strategy 4. Build a side hustle for passive income. Finally, let's talk extra income. With inflation at 3 to 4%, your paycheck's buying less Vegemite than it used. 2. A side hustle is like a second stringer in the Australian Football League, ready to step up when you need it. Whether it's freelancing, renting out a spare room, or selling handmade goods, a side hustle can fund your investments or debt repayments. Consider Liam, a 30-year-old graphic designer from the Gold Coast. Liam started designing logos on Airtasker, earning $500 a month. He funneled that into an exchange-traded fund, building a $10,000 portfolio in 2 years. Or take Sophie, a retiree in Hobart, who rents her granny flat on Airbnb for $100 a night. That's $2,000 a month, boosting her retirement income. Your move. Think of one skill you have: cooking, writing, even dog walking. Check platforms like Fiverr or Gumtree and list a service for $20. Test it for a month. If it works, scale it up. Ask yourself, what's one thing you could sell or do for extra cash? Drop it in the comments to inspire others. Why these strategies work? These 4 strategies, debt snowball, exchange-traded funds, super contributions, and side hustles, are your financial Swiss Army knife. They're scalable whether you're earning $40,000 or $400,000 a year. They're resilient, protecting you from global shocks like China's treasury dump. And they're accessible. No need for a fancy degree or a mate at Macquarie Bank. Think of them as building a surfboard. Each step shapes a stronger, more stable ride through the economic waves. But here's the secret sauce: consistency. Wealth isn't a Tatslotto win. It's like waiting for the Boxing Day sales at Meijer. Plan ahead, stick to it, and you'll score big. Coming up, we'll reveal the long-term wealth blueprint that could have you retiring on the Sunshine Coast 10 years early. It's the game changer 90% of Aussies miss, and it's simpler than you think. We've armed you with tools to tackle debt, invest smart, boost your super, and kickstart a side hustle. Your financial surfboard's taking shape. But now, mates, it's time to look beyond the next wave and plan for the horizon. Building lasting wealth in a world where China might dump $800 billion in United States treasuries isn't just about quick wins. It's about crafting a future where you're sipping cocktails on the Gold Coast, not stressing about bills. Think of your wealth like a boomerang. Throw it right with patience and precision, and it'll come back stronger. Let's dive into the long-term blueprint that'll keep your finances thriving, no matter what global storms brew. Sustainability. Protect and grow your wealth first. Let's talk sustainability. The Australian Securities Exchange 200 might average 7% returns, but global shocks, like a United States-China trade war, can shake things up. Diversification is your safety net. Spread your investments across exchange-traded funds, property, and even some cash in a high-interest savings account with banks like ING or UBank, offering around 4.5%. This mix is like a well-packed esky for a barbecue, something for every scenario. Meet Lisa, a 55-year-old nurse from Melbourne who retired last year with $2 million in assets. 20 years ago, Lisa was a single mom, scraping by on a $40,000 salary. She started small, investing $100 a month in an exchange-traded fund like BetaShares A200, and putting an extra 1% into her super via salary sacrificing. She also bought a modest investment property in Geelong for $250,000, now worth $600,000, which she rents out for $500 a week. Lisa's secret? She didn't chase get-rich-quick schemes. She diversified, stayed disciplined, and let time do the heavy lifting. Today, she's volunteering at her local surf club and planning a trip to the Great Ocean Road. Your move. Review your portfolio. If you're all in on one stock, like Commonwealth Bank, spread it out. Add an exchange-traded fund or explore a managed fund with low fees, like those from Vanguard. If you're over 50, chat with a financial planner about transitioning to safer assets, like bonds, to protect your nest egg. It's like battening down the hatches before a cyclone hits far north Queensland. Retirement goals. Aim for comfort retirement's the finish line, but it's not about scraping by on tinned beans. Experts say you'll need $1,500,000 in super for a comfortable lifestyle in a city like Sydney or Perth. Think regular holidays, a nice car, and dinners at the local RSL. The average 60-year-old Aussie has $300,000 in super, so there's a gap to bridge. Here's how to close it. Maximize your super contributions now. If you're in your 30s, adding 2% to your concessional contributions, say from 9.5% to 11.5%, could add $150,000 by retirement thanks to compounding. If you're self-employed, consider contributing up to $27,500 a year, which is tax deductible. And don't forget to consolidate old super accounts. Having 3 funds with $5,000 each is like leaving cash scattered across Bondi Beach. Pause and reflect. What does your dream retirement look like? Is it fishing off Broome or weekends at the Melbourne Cricket Ground? Write it down and estimate the cost. Share in the comments. What's one retirement goal you're saving for? It'll keep you focused, like a wallaby's scrum pushing for the tri-line millionaire habits. Discipline and delayed gratification. Wealthy Aussies don't just luck into it, they live by habits that anyone can adopt. Think of Warren Buffett, not the American investor, but your mate Warren from Wollongong who retired at 60 with $1 million. Warren's trick? He lived below his means, saving 20% of his income and avoided lifestyle creep. When he got a pay rise, he didn't splash out on a new ute. He invested it. Adopt these habits. Track your spending for 7 days using an app like Pocketbook. You'll spot leaks, like that $50 weekly Uber Eats habit. Redirect that. Cash to your exchange-traded fund or super. Also, embrace delayed gratification. Skip the latest iPhone and invest the $1,000 instead. In 10 years, at 7%, it's $2,000. It's like waiting for the perfect wave at Bell's Beach. Patience pays off. Planning for legacy. Finally, think about your legacy. Wealth isn't just for you. It's for your kids, your community, or even a cause, like saving the Great Barrier Reef. Set up a will to ensure your assets go where you want. Consider a family trust if you've got property or investments. Over $1 million. It can save on tax and protect your wealth. And if you're a small business owner like a cafe operator in Byron Bay, explore succession planning to pass your business on smoothly. Lisa, our Melbourne nurse, did this right. She set up a trust for her daughter, ensuring her Geelong property would fund her education. It gave Lisa peace of mind, like knowing your tent's secure before a storm hits the Blue Mountains. Your long-term vision, this blueprint, diversification, super maximization, millionaire habits, and legacy planning is your map to financial freedom. It's not about earning 6 figures. It's about making your money work smarter. Imagine retiring at 60, debt-free, with $1,500,000 in super, a rental property ticking along, and a share portfolio spitting out $20,000 a year in dividends. That's the life Lisa built, and it's within your reach. Stick with us, because next we're wrapping up with a powerful call to action and a 7-day challenge that'll kickstart your journey. It's the final piece of the puzzle, and it's as inspiring as watching the sunrise over Uluru. Mates, we've just navigated a wild ride. 60 minutes of diving deep into a world where China's eyeing a dump of $800 billion in United States treasuries. The United States is swinging back with a 104% tariff, and our Australian Securities Exchange 200 is caught in the riptide. But here's the heart of it. You're not just building wealth, you're building freedom. Freedom to retire on the Sunshine Coast with a cold one in hand, to send your kids to uni without a higher education contribution scheme debt hanging over them, or to finally take that caravan trip across the Nullarbor. Your financial journey is like sailing the Great Barrier Reef. Navigate with wisdom, dodge the storms, and the rewards are as endless as the coral beneath. Let's recap the treasures we've uncovered. First, we faced the debt beast head-on with the snowball method, turning overwhelming bills into small, winnable battles, like Sarah, our Brisbane teacher, who cleared $20,000 in credit card debt. Then we jumped into investing, using exchange-traded funds like Vanguard's VAS to grow wealth steadily, just as Emma, our Adelaide nurse, turned $200 a month into $30,000. We supercharged our superannuation, with Aisha's 2% boost adding $120,000 to her retirement. And we sparked side hustles, like Liam's $500 a month graphic design gig, proving extra incomes as reachable as a snag at a Bunnings barbecue. Finally, we built a long-term plan with Lisa, our Melbourne nurse, who diversified her $2 million portfolio to retire at 55, showing us that patience and discipline outshine any get-rich-quick scheme. These aren't just strategies, they're your lifeline in a world of economic uncertainty. Whether you're a 20-something barista in Bondi or a 60-something retiree in Hobart, you've got the tools to weather this trade war. The Australian Securities Exchange might wobble if China pulls the trigger, and inflation might push. Your Woolworths bill higher than a Sydney house price? $1,200,000, anyone? But you're ready. You're not waiting for the Reserve Bank of Australia to drop its 4.35% cash rate or for global markets to play nice. You're taking control, like a surfer carving through a monster wave at Bells Beach. Now, here's your challenge. A 7-day sprint to kickstart your financial freedom. Day 1. Track every dollar you spend, from your morning flat white to your Netflix subscription. Day 2. List your debts, smallest to largest, and commit to paying off the tiniest by next month. Day 3. Check your super balance online. Takes 5 minutes. Day 4. Cut one expense, maybe that $20 weekly takeaway, and redirect it to a savings account. Day 5. Research an exchange-traded fund like BetaShares A200. Just read one article. Day 6. Brainstorm a side hustle. Dog walking. Tutoring anything and listed on Gumtree. Day 7. Write down your retirement dream, whether it's fishing off Broome or cheering the Dockers at Perth Stadium. This challenge isn't just a to-do list. It's your first step to a life where money works for you, not against you. So what's holding you back? The fear that you need a 6-figure salary to start? Rubbish. Lisa started with $100 a month. The worry that markets are too risky? Diversify, and you're safer than a kangaroo in the outback. Or maybe it's just inertia, that feeling of, I'll do it tomorrow. But tomorrow's like waiting for rain in the Simpson Desert. It might never come. Your financial future starts now with one small action, like skipping that extra schooner and investing the $10 instead. And I want you to feel this in your bones. Comment below with your first step toward financial freedom. Is it paying off that $500 credit card? Opening a Raiz account? Or just checking your super for the first time since the Melbourne Cup? Share it, because your story could inspire someone in Perth, Brisbane, or even Alice Springs to take their first step. Then hit that like button. It's free and helps spread this message. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video with your mates, your family, or that colleague who's always whinging about their mortgage. Together, we're not just building wealth. We're building a movement of Aussies who refuse to let global chaos steal their dreams. Your journey's just beginning, and it's as epic as watching the sunset over Uluru. Take that first step today, and I promise you'll look back in 10 years and thank yourself. Let's make financial freedom as Australian as a Vegemite sandwich. Who's with me?